Hello and welcome. You're watching Ask Speaker on Bloomberg Quint. I am Agam Vakil and with me is Alex Matthew. Good afternoon, Alex.
Good afternoon, Agam. Well, we're starting late again today, so let me jump straight to it. Do send your queries to us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube and WhatsApp. You can also call us, remember, on 022454044141, or you can mail us on askpq@bloombergquint.com. Just make sure to add the AskPQ hashtag.
Well, the Nifty is at risk of snapping a 7-day gaining streak with the benchmark indices currently trending marginally in the red. At least as far as the Nifty is concerned, that is the case. The Sensex is just a tad higher than the flattish levels at the levels at which we closed. And as far as the Nifty banking index is concerned, well, it has given up 29,700 and it's currently trending down by as much as 0.25%. Your broader market indices, that is the mid-cap and the small-cap indices, are actually underperforming the benchmarks with a 0.5% cut for the mid-cap 100 and the small-cap 100 declining by nearly just as much. In terms of the big gainers and losers on the indices, we have Indiabulls Housing Finance up 2.9%, followed by Infosys continuing to see some traction on the fact that we've seen a little bit of weakness for the Indian rupee against the US dollar. Hindalco, on the other hand, also advancing by as much as 2.2%. Among the losers, well, we have two OMCs right at the top, with HPCL down nearly 5%, BPCL down nearly 4%, and NTPC down by just as much. So mixed cues coming in, something that we were anticipating, and a little bit of a pause when it comes to benchmarks. Stellar run that we have seen through the course of the last 1.5 weeks, Alex.
All right. With that, let's get our two experts in for the day. We've got Sameet Chavan of Angel Broking and Gaurang Shah of Geojit Financial Services. They're both here to answer all of your questions. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. Sorry to keep you waiting. This first one is for you, Gaurang. The first question is from Love Lap on YouTube. He's asking about a couple of counters. Radico Khaitan, he's gotten at levels that are not too far from the current market price at 395. The stock is currently just around that 400 mark. And Abbott India, where he's losing a little ground, he's bought at 7,800. I believe the stock is just around the 7,340 mark. He's asking if we should add more into these two counters and whether you think they're good in terms of a long-term bet.
Thank you, Alex, and good afternoon to all of you all. Well, as per regulation, since we don't have coverage on both of them, I can't comment on them. So I would refrain to make any comments in terms of buy, sell and hold since we don't have coverage.
Fair enough. I think we can try and get a technical call from Sameet on that. Sameet, looking at the charts, do you have any indications as to whether or not there's a possibility of an up move from the current levels?
I'm sorry, I missed out the name.
We're talking about Radico Khaitan, which was bought at levels of 395, and we're talking about Abbott India, where the viewer has bought at 7,800. The stock is currently at 7,340.
See, as far as Radico Khaitan is concerned, this has been one of the outperforming stock within this space since last couple of years. It appears that since last 3 months, this stock has slipped into a consolidation mode. And if I just look at the overall volume activity, it has dried down, and hence we are not seeing any encouraging sign on charts as of now. But 410 is the level to watch out for. If this stock manages to surpass this level and if volume starts picking up, then this stock can head towards 430, 435 in the near term. So I would suggest wait for a breakout to happen beyond 410. So if he's already holding this particular counter with a near term view, 385 should be the stop loss level. The other stock you talked about is Abbott. Abbott is, hold on. Yeah, this has been a steady mover. Recently we saw a dip from the levels of 8,200, 8,300 and stock is now consolidating around 7,300. So 7,600 is the level to watch out for. If it manages to surpass this level, then only we could see some kind of strength coming in. Otherwise, this stock would continue its consolidation phase. On the low side, 7,200 would be the crucial level.
Okay. Well, we have another interesting question from Mayank Saraf, and his question is to do with United Phosphorus, that's UPL, and Uniphos Enterprises, that is their holding company. Well, Mayank Saraf asks what are the view on Uniphos Enterprises, which is the holding company of UPL, which is at a huge discount and he wants to know if it can be bought into, considering UPL is making new lifetime highs. Gaurang, if I can take this question for you, do you think it makes sense for you to buy Uniforce Enterprises, which is the holding company, which hasn't really caught on as much as UPL, which has gone on to make lifetime highs?
So, we have a coverage on UPL. And I think when they did a recent acquisition in the overseas market, the stock slipped to 650. I stand to be corrected. I'm talking about some 6-8 months back. And from those levels, the stock has recovered quite smartly, and now, as you rightly mentioned, making new 52-week highs. I think the entire focus is going to be the agri products that they have, and with the kind of push that the government is making for the agri sector, it makes a lot of sense for me to buy stock which is exhibiting strength. On the enterprises, we don't have a coverage, so I can't comment on them. But go for stocks which have performance, which have got growth visibility, and which are entering into new charted territories in a blue sky kind of a zone, rather than, and holding companies always are very tricky in terms of taking any fundamental call, because there is nothing operational in them.
We've got a question on phenolics cables, Gaurang. This one is from Manikandan. If I pull up the chart and if I look at even since the start of this calendar year, there's been a significant up move from levels of 365 or thereabouts, or 350 or thereabouts, all the way up to where it is right now at just under 500. He has bought at levels of 527. He's saying, should he continue holding, Gaurang?
Well, continue to hold, and please average at maybe sub 460, 450 levels if you can. We have positive coverage on both the companies, Phenolics Industries and Phenolic Cables. And these both industries, Alex, are a good proxy play with the kind of, construction, infrastructure related activity which are rolling out at ground level. And both these companies have a sizable market share and a decent product profile and customer recall for the products that they offer. So stay invested, extend your time horizon. And my sense, Alex, is that this entire infrastructure construction related activity is going to go into an overdrive mode once we have a stable government at the center in the next couple of months.
All right. Well, let's move on and talk about Bata then. And we have a question from Ayush Gupta, who wants to know, who wants to get a technical view here. His question is actually precisely whether or not Bata India is due for a correction. Please provide a technical view. That's the question he wants to know. Sameet, how are you looking at Bata India, and do you think it is due for a correction?
No, it would be very difficult to comment that, we have seen that such stocks, those who makes lifetime highs, they continue to, remain in the upward direction. They continue their northward trajectory, and this is what Bata India has been doing. In fact, this has been one of the outperforming stocks since last 4-5 months. And if you see, this rally started from the levels of 900, and there has been no, major correction in between. So, yes, stock has rallied quite a lot, but that doesn't say that the stock is due for a correction. It might continue this northward trajectory for a while. So, in such kind of scenarios, one should, avoid going short. Those who have bought it, they should keep trailing their stop losses. And right now, if I can see any particular support level, a near-term support is somewhere around 1330, 1320.
Okay, Gaurang, perhaps taking your conversation on the last counter that we talked about, Phenolics Cable, slightly forward, you were talking about the proxy to the real estate space and how you expect it to pick up once there is a stable government, which you say you expect in the next couple of months or so. We've got Ganesh Satyanathan, who's asking about the building material space, which I would understand as exactly what you're talking about. Would you have any recommendations for him in that space?
Well, so building material has a huge basket, but I will refrain to comment on companies like Shankara Buildcon in case if the caller is asking towards that company, because we don't have a coverage. But I think cement is the first one that I would possibly pick. Second one is metals, because Alex, any kind of infrastructure you want to create now, whether it is a tall tower or whether it is a a ceiling bridge, whether it is an express highway, whether it is an airport, ports, dedicated freight corridors, railway station, connectivity, etc., etc. Udan 1, 2, 3, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Yojana, affordable housing, housing for all. I can go on and on, for which both these commodities, cement and metal, will get consumed. Because without these two, Alex, you cannot make a new, durable, long-lasting infrastructure. Secondly, whatever modernization that you want to do of the current existing infrastructure also needs these two commodities. So I would firstly go into cement and metals. Large cap first, so likes of ACC, Ultratech, Ambuja, Grasim if you will, in the cement universe. In the metal space, Tata Steel, Hindalco, Vedanta, JSW Steel. If I have to extend the argument forward, then possibly I might even look at companies like Kajaria Ceramic, HSIL, which are also a good proxy player.
Okay. All right. Well, moving to a question that a lot of traders out there would like the answer to. It's a question from Hemant Gaikwad, and his question is actually on the Nifty. And his question is very simple and straightforward. Is it overbought? Sameet, is it?
See, I guess my answer would be the same as it was for Bata India. Yes, we have rallied quite a lot, 600, 650 points in such a short span. We are, if you look at some indicators, momentum indicators, they have entered an overbought territory. But this is what I say, when a particular stock or index, when it, comes out of a congestion zone, which, Nifty has come out of its last 4 months congestion zone. So it starts picking up momentum. This is what we have seen. We generally see gravity defying moves. This is what we are seeing in Nifty and especially in Bank Nifty. So Bank Nifty is clearly supportive. And we might see some kind of consolidation or minor dip in between, but we don't expect any major correction, at least in the near term. We would expect rather Nifty to head towards its all-time highs quite soon.
All right. Well, that's the view on the Nifty, and like Agam said, wouldn't everybody want to know where it's heading, considering the kind of moves it's had? Batraji has got a question for you, Gaurang. This is on Godrej Consumer Product. He's bought this at 950 levels. The stock is currently at 700 or thereabouts, so he's lost some ground. How much would you read into this, this conversation that has just about started with regard to the slowdown in auto, and perhaps suggesting some slowdown in consumption in the near term at least? And is that a cause for concern for you?
So I think near-term concerns, volatility, negative news should worry short to medium-term traders, Alex. I don't think long-term investors in sound company, fundamentally strong, great management, great capability and capacity in place, and with very strong future outlook as far as earnings growth is concerned, should need to worry or make any kind of changes in their long-term investment. In fact, if you do get opportunities like in this case, you should add to your investment. And not to forget, I think after a consistent growth for the last 3 to 4 years, I think last 2 quarters were a little bit disturbing for Godrej Consumer Products Limited because their input cost had gone up a little bit. There was a little bit of small contraction as far as the EBIT margins and profitability is concerned. But if I look at a broader picture, the amount of presence that Godrej Consumer has with respect to its product in the domestic market, and by the virtue of the acquisitions that they have done in the overseas market, I think their footprints are well established and in a strong footing. Stay invested, and if you have investable amount, I think if you like the stock at 920, it gives me no reason why you shouldn't not like or average the stock at current levels of 700, 710.
Fair call.
Okay, Gaurang, we have one more question for you. We have Raja Vasant, who says he's bought Balkrishna Industries and he wants to know, is it fine to hold it, keeping in mind 5 to 7 years view? He's bought it, in fact, around the same levels as it is currently. What is your long-term view on Balkrishna Industries?
Well, so Agam, we had a positive view on Balkrishna Industries, but in the recent times when it went above those closer to 1,000 levels and above that, we had given a reduced call on Balkrishna Industries, primarily because our targets were in place. With a 4 or 5 year time horizon, if you are into the auto ancillary stroke tire manufacturing segment company, and if you like the sector and you want to stay invested over here, then I will give you an alternative idea, and that is CEAT Limited. I think the stock is sitting at 1100. I stand to be corrected if I'm wrong. Very strong earning visibility. And one thing is there, Agam, irrespective of whatever people say in terms of production cut, in terms of cut down, in terms of negativity, I think these are all short-term concerns. With the kind of slew of launches that various two-wheeler, four-wheeler, commercial vehicle, tractor, earth-moving equipment companies have lined up, I think tire as a component is a very core component to making a very safe and a fuller vehicle, without which you cannot have movability of any vehicle. And more importantly, rubber prices are down, crude oil prices are likely to cool off. So I think at 1100, 1150, I would rather advise this investor to move into CEAT than stay invested in Balkrishna, primarily because our targets are achieved in Balkrishna.
Okay, fair call. That's view on the cement stock, CEAT. All right, let's take another question. This one on Vimta Labs. Sameet, this one's for you. The stock currently trading around 195. Again, seen significant correction in this current year, calendar year. We've got a viewer, Subhash, who's bought at levels of 250, and he's looking to hold on only for the next year or so. So what is the advice, and what are the levels that you would recommend for him?
See, honestly speaking, we don't track this counter, but looking at its overall price behavior in last 4-5 months, it does not give any comfort at all. There are some mid-cap pharmaceutical stocks that are clearly making new highs. So within this space, Ipca Lab has been our preferred pick since the level of 650, and today only the stock has hit its fresh all-time high somewhere around 940. So we remain upbeat on Ipca Lab. If he wants to switch, he can exit this particular counter and get into Ipca Lab, which we expect to surpass 1,000 mark quite soon. But as far as Vimta Lab is concerned, I don't see any encouraging sign. There's no volume participation at all. So if this particular stock has to gain any kind of strength, it has to first surpass 210. That too with rising volume. So if these two conditions meet, then only this stock can head toward 235, 240.
All right, well, it's time to get into the rapid fire segment, and we're going to have a truncated one this time, considering we started the show late. But I'm going to request our experts to keep their answers as short as possible. Sameet, the question for you is on Yes Bank. We have Shubham Garg. He's bought it at 210. And he wants a short-term view. If he wants to know if he can book profits at these levels.
See, honestly speaking, since the September's, we are not advising this stock on the long side, although it has given decent recovery in the recent past. My suggestion would be to book partial profits and keep trailing your stop losses to 241 for balance quantity.
Gaurang, we've got a viewer who's making a little money in Max Financial, Gautam Chopra. He's asking if we should keep holding and if the prospects are good.
Well, again, Alex, no specific coverage on this one, so I would refrain to comment on buy, sell and hold. But if you are in the money and if you're getting the kind of return, it's your call whether you want to book your profits or stay invested.
Okay, well, moving on to a technical view on Motherson Sumi. We have a question from Ketan on YouTube. He holds Motherson Sumi at 150. He wants to know what to do. Sameet, levels to watch?
Stay put from my end as of now, trading around its important support of 157. So you can keep a stop loss below 157 on a closing basis. And on the higher side, once this stock surpasses 162, we could see this stock heading again back to 170, 172.
Gaurang, I don't recall if you named JSW Steel in one of your picks for the steel sector. Raj Lalwani wants to know whether he should buy into the counter.
So I did mention JSW Steel, and it is one of the strongest competitors, and with the kind of capex that they have added, Alex, I think the visibility is much, much stronger. If you bought it, stay invested. If you not bought it, time to buy.
Okay, a technical view on Grasim. We have Rakesh Arora who wants to know what we can do. Sameet, what levels would you watch in Grasim?
I mean, 846 is the level to watch out for. Stock is facing resistance around this important level since last 3 months. So once this stock surpasses this, then only we could see some strength coming back in this counter. As of now, support is somewhere around 810, 805. So keep a stop loss below 805.
Okay, well, on that note, we would like to thank our experts Sameet and Gaurang for helping our viewers with all their queries. That is all that we have on this edition of Ask Speak.
And I see a lot of you guys have asked your questions today. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to take all of them, but hopefully some of the questions that we did take did help you out. If you missed some of them, you can look up the episode on the website or any one of our social media platforms. Up next is Power Lunch, so do stay tuned. This is Bloomberg Quint.